Let's look at two more kinds of graphs. The first one we'll look at is called a bar graph. And with bar graphs, the height of bars indicate quantity. Now, when we're asked questions about a graph, I think it's important before we begin to answer the questions to become acclimated to the graph that we have. Here, we want to read what the graph is saying. This graph has to do with the average monthly rainfall in some fictitious city in the United States. All right, and along the bottom we have months actually. This is January, February, March, April, May, June, July. And along the left side we have inches of rainfall. And so we can easily correlate for each of the bars. You see, for January, February, March. For March, let's see, the top of the bar is about at 3. So the average rainfall for March would be about 3 inches. Now with bar graphs, we can easily see comparisons from month to month. We can notice that the largest average rainfall is in July, the smallest is in February. And we can see that March and April are about the same. May and June are also just about the same, and other things as well. We could actually assign a quantity to each of these. We could look at the top of each bar and look over to the left, you see, and assign a number to the rainfall amount in each of these months. And we could then make ratios and percents and all the kinds of calculations that we did before. Here's another kind of bar graph. It's almost like two bar graphs in one. It's a double bar graph, and this kind of bar graph is great for comparisons. Now let's become familiar with the bar graph first, and then let's answer some questions. First of all, the label on the graph itself is this. These are fuel efficiency ratings. And along the bottom of the graph, we have 4 different kinds of automobiles. Honda Insight, VW New Beetle, Chevrolet Metro, Metro Suzuki Swift. And along the left, we have miles per gallon rating, 20, 40, 60, 80, and so on. Okay. Now, the double bar idea is this. We are comparing 2 kinds of fuel efficiencies for each of these automobiles. And there's some kind of key always in a graph like this telling us which bar means what. And they are generally color coordinated, or maybe they're coordinated with a certain pattern like I have here. But the striped pattern is for city miles per gallon, and the solid pattern is for highway miles per gallon. So if we're looking, for example, at the Honda Insight, then let's see, the solid corresponds with highway. So this is highway miles per gallon for this car, and this bar represents the city miles per gallon for the same car. So we can compare some idea or something about the same car, and we can compare items from one car to another. Let's answer a few questions, and we're going to come back to the graph in just a second as we answer the questions. But the first one says, is the fuel efficiency of the Chevrolet Metro greater on the highway or in the city driving, All right, so the Chevrolet Metro, let's go locate the Chevrolet Metro on the graph. So we look down here at the bottom. Oh, here's the Chevrolet Metro. Now, here's the highway miles per gallon, you see, and the city miles per gallon. And we're asked to tell which one is larger. Is the fuel efficiency of the Chevrolet Metro greater on the highway or in the city? Well, the larger bar is for the highway miles per gallon, and so the efficiency is greater on the highway than it is in the city. Now I'll just read the next couple of questions, and we'll continue to look at the graph. As I read the questions, if you'd like to do so, feel free to stop the video and try to answer the question on your own, or just answer it before I answer it. You see, and that way you get a little bit of practice here, and at the same time as I'm showing the examples. All right, the item number 2 says, approximately how many more miles per gallon does the Honda Insight get while traveling on the highway than in the city? So we're dealing with one automobile now. How much greater mileage do we have on the highway than in the city? You see, and all we're doing is looking at the difference in the height of the bars and noticing how that translates over here on this left column. So let's see, our highway miles per gallon looks to be about 70. And the city miles per gallon looks to be about 60. So the difference between those two would be 10 miles per gallon. Next question says, estimate the difference between the fuel efficiency of the Honda Insight in city driving and the fuel efficiency of the VW Beetle in city driving. So here's the VW Beetle, here's the Honda Insight. We're looking at city driving only, and that's the striped bar for both of them. And we're looking for the difference between these two. You see, so we need to look at the numbers that are at the left of the top of these two bars. So we're looking at the difference between 60 and 40, and that would be 20 miles per gallon. Broken line graphs are really good at illustrating trends, and here we have a graph which is the graph of average snowfall in Aspen, Colorado for the months from October through April, and the inches of snowfall are given along this vertical column. Now notice that what we can see is that the snowfall amounts increase dramatically from October through January, then they drop off for the next couple of months and then drop off dramatically from March to April. So we can see those trends very quickly here. We also notice that the largest amount of snowfall is in the month of January, and the amount of snowfall is about 20 inches. Now we can make some calculations similar to the ones that we made before, having to do with ratio and percent and that kind of thing. All we need to do is assign a number to the amount of snowfall in each month. For example, suppose we want the total average amount of snowfall in the months of, let's say, March and April. Well, here's what we'd do. We'd look at March and look up at the dot for March and look over to the left, and that dot is between 16 and 18. Let's call it 17. And for April, let's see, here's the dot looking over to the left. It corresponds with 8. So we have a snowfall of 17 inches on average in March, 8 inches on average in April. Together, 17 and 8, 25 inches of snowfall for those 2 months. We could also deal with ratios, as I say, and percent. So if we want, for example, the ratio of average snowfall from the ratio of the average snowfall in November to December, we do it this way. So November to December, we need to assign some numbers. Here's November. Here's the dot looking to the left. It's 12. And then for December, let's see, looking straight up from December, it's up here, 18. So it's 18 inches of snowfall. The ratio of November to December would be 12 to 18, which we reduce. 6 into 12 goes 2, 6 into 18 goes 3. So the ratio is 2 to 3.